The year is 1916. The Great War has raged for nearly 2 years, locked in a brutal stalemate of trenches and barbed wire. Along the Western Front, millions of men endure a nightmarish landscape: mud, rats, and the constant threat of death. This is industrialized warfare, where courage is pitted against machine guns and artillery. Verdun stands out, a fortress city, a symbol of French pride and history. Its forts meant to be impregnable. For France, Verdun is more than a military position. It is the nation's soul. To lose Verdun would be a devastating blow, both strategically and emotionally. The city sits on the Meuse River, a key point in the Allied line. In early 1916, tension grows among the French soldiers stationed there. Whispers of a massive German buildup circulate. The French High Command under General Joffre has grown complacent, even stripping Verdun of some artillery. The men sense the coming storm, waiting for an onslaught aimed at the heart of France. Verdun is about to become the crucible of suffering, the longest and one of the most savage battles in history. For 10 months, it will be an anvil, hammering both armies relentlessly. The name Verdun will soon become synonymous with horror, a byword for the senseless slaughter of the First World War. The German plan was crafted by Chief of Staff Erich von Falkenhayn, a cold strategist who saw Verdun as the key to breaking France. He didn't want territory. He wanted to destroy the French army by forcing them to defend a symbol they could not abandon. The plan, Operation Judgment, aimed to lure the French into a killing zone where German artillery would do the rest. Falkenhayn's goal: to bleed France white. Over 1,200 artillery pieces and millions of shells were moved into position. 9 elite German divisions prepared for the assault. Secrecy was absolute. The French had no idea what was coming. On February 21, 1916, the German guns unleashed a hurricane of fire, over 1 million shells in 9 hours. Trenches vanished, bunkers were pulverized, and men were buried alive. The sky turned black with smoke. The noise was deafening. When the barrage lifted, German stormtroopers advanced through a shattered landscape. The French front lines, unprepared and thinly spread, simply disintegrated. The road to Verdun lay open, and the true test for France had begun. Falkenhayn believed he could break France's will to fight, but he underestimated their resolve. The battle for Verdun was underway, and neither side would emerge unscathed. The German assault nearly broke the French, but panic gave way to determination. General Joffre appointed General Philippe Pétain, a leader known for his care for his men and iron resolve. Pétain arrived in chaos, halted the retreat, and reorganized the battered defenses. His rallying cry, "They shall not pass," galvanized the nation. With main railways cut, only a single road, the Voie Sacrée, kept Verdun supplied. Day and night, convoys of trucks ferried men and material to the front, while the wounded were carried back. Pétain's rotation system ensured no division stayed too long in the inferno, spreading the burden across the entire French army. Nearly 3/4 of French soldiers would serve at Verdun, making the battle a national ordeal. The Voie Sacrée became a symbol of French ingenuity and determination. Under Pétain, the French defense stiffened into an unbreakable wall. The Germans, for all their firepower, could not break through. Verdun became a test of willpower, with every French village sharing in the cost. The battle was no longer just about territory, it was about survival and national honor. As the battle dragged on, Verdun became a grinding war of attrition. Falkenhayn's vision, but more savage than he imagined. The fighting devolved into desperate struggles for every crater and ruined trench. The Germans unleashed new horrors: flamethrowers, poison gas, and relentless artillery. The French responded with improved tactics and weapons, turning the battlefield into a gruesome laboratory of death. Conditions were inhuman: mud, filth, rats, and the constant presence of death. Water was scarce, sleep was rare, and the dead often lay unburied. Shell shock shattered minds. The trauma of Verdun spread through the entire French army. Pétain's rotation system, the Noria, kept units from total destruction, but ensured the horror was shared by all. Soldiers arrived fresh, only to return as hollow-eyed survivors. Verdun became known as the mincing machine, a place where men were fed into the grinder, and only ghosts returned. The battle was no longer about victory, but about endurance. Both armies were locked in a nightmare with no end in sight. At Verdun's heart stood the great forts, especially Douaumont and Vaux, symbols of both agony and courage. Douaumont, the largest fort, fell early in the battle almost without a fight, a huge blow to French morale. Its recapture became an obsession, and inside, German soldiers endured constant bombardment and disaster. The fort became a tomb, a concrete monster consuming men from both sides. Fort Vaux, in contrast, was heroically defended by Major Raynal and his garrison. For 7 days, cut off and out of water, they fought off relentless German attacks in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Their last message was sent by carrier pigeon before surrendering, dying of thirst and exhaustion. The German commander, moved by their bravery, allowed Raynal to keep his sword. The stories of Douaumont and Vaux became legends. One lost through neglect, the other through heroic resistance. They embodied the agony of defeat and the nobility of sacrifice. These forts became the enduring symbols of Verdun's suffering and courage. By summer 1916, the German offensive stalled. Falkenhayn's plan had failed, and both armies were bleeding. The British Somme offensive forced Germany to divert resources, giving France a chance to counterattack. Under General Nivelle, the French launched powerful offensives, using new tactics to reclaim lost ground. In October, French troops recaptured Fort Douaumont. Days later, they re-entered Fort Vaux. By December, the front lines were almost exactly where they'd started. Nothing gained, nothing lost. But the cost was staggering. Over 700,000 casualties, some estimates nearing 1 million. The land was destroyed, villages erased, the earth poisoned and littered with the dead. Verdun was the longest and most horrific battle of the war, a perfect example of attrition. Both sides were exhausted, their armies shattered. Falkenhayn was dismissed, his strategy a failure. France had held, but at a price that would haunt generations. The battle ended not with victory, but with mutual exhaustion. Verdun's legacy was one of unimaginable loss. Verdun became a defining event for France, leaving a scar on the nation's soul. Every community felt the loss. Scarcely a family was untouched. "They shall not pass" became a symbol of unity and sacrifice. The memory of Verdun shaped French military thinking, leading to the defensive Maginot Line in the 1930s. This mindset, born from Verdun's trauma, would later prove disastrous against new forms of warfare. Today, Verdun is a place of remembrance. Its landscape still scarred, its cemeteries and memorials silent witnesses to the slaughter. The Douaumont ossuary holds the remains of 130,000 unidentified soldiers, a testament to the battle scale. Verdun is a pilgrimage site, honoring the fallen from both nations. It stands as a warning, a lesson in the futility of attrition and the true cost of war. The unchanged lines show the senselessness of the sacrifice. Verdun reminds us of the suffering ordinary people endure for grand strategies. The guns have long since fallen silent, but the lessons of Verdun must never be forgotten. Its legacy is a call for peace and a reminder of the price of conflict.